Hey guys, what is up? It's your girl Jasmine Kylene, and I'm coming live to talk a little bit about what's going on astrologically, how to understand it, how to work with it, and all of those beautiful things. So thank you. Oh, this pinky is no longer, so I'm just going to make sure that I don't show that. So I hope that you are well, or doing as well as you possibly can be, given the circumstances of being human and existing in this time period, particularly, well, honestly, if you're in any place in the world, I'm just sorry, honestly. So know that you're not alone. Anyway, though, let's talk a little bit about what's going on, because there is a lot going on. There's always a lot going on, but like the month of August has been so insane, so like exceptionally insane, especially like with this Lionsgate energy. Hi, thank you for joining. This Lionsgate energy, I feel like we're still sort of in the midst of, especially because the portal opened with the first full moon in Aquarius. It peaked obviously with the new moon in Leo, but it's honestly still going to be a thing until the full moon in Aquarius that we have again on the 22nd. So like, just know if you are feeling anxious, if you're feeling depleted or drained or like just kind of overwhelmed and overstimulated, we're still in that like chaotic recalibration, shedding of self, reintegration with like who we're becoming kind of energy. So you're not alone, and it's totally normal to take extra naps. And honestly, I would highly recommend, if there's anything I can start this spiel off with, it's building intimacy with rest, which is a conversation that's been coming up in a lot of different circles for me, but like ultimately, and like different ages and different like walks of life. But if you aren't getting enough rest, really commit to getting rest right now, because of how just like loud existing is right now. But the first thing I want to say is that we have Uranus, which is a planet that rules like just radical change and upheaval, going into retrograde. Thank you for joining, Icon. So when that goes into retrograde, it's going to kind of shake up our relationship with our comfort zone and our sense of stability. I am the most tired I have ever been. And like, it goes beyond physical exhaustion. I'm like mentally tired. I'm emotionally tired. Because there's just so much that we're like subconsciously processing that we don't even realize we're consciously processing as well. So just understanding that like I need to have some sort of like barrier and dialogue when it comes to how much I'm showing up online, how much information and stimulation I'm like ingesting, and recognizing the fact that like you may be at full capacity, which I've been talking so much about this. Like within the same week, like my phone and like every computer that like every piece of technology that I own has gone like full storage, and I'm fully like, this is symbolic. I am also at full storage. So like recognizing the fact that like you can be the gatekeeper of how much you're intaking. And if that means spending less time online, if that means the earrings are always fire, babe. I always look good. Thank you. You don't have to stay, honestly. It's just, but I love you. Thank you. Ultimately, just making sure that you're having a healthy relationship and a healthy dialogue with rest and with how much you are intaking, particularly when it comes to technology, because Uranus, also being like the Aquarian-led planet, rules technology. So making sure that you're like backing up everything. Like if you are, so me being psychotic, I like to print every photo that I have, and like I buy all of my music physically because I just don't trust in like the sustainability of technology. So thank you so much. Thank you for joining. So if I were you, right now is a beautiful time to like really focus on backing up your technology, because I know we typically say that with like Mercury retrogrades, but like Uranus retrograde is also really going to hit technology and like things failing and like just, yeah. So just making sure that you have your information and the stuff that's important backed up, but also just like how much time am I letting myself be stimulated by what's digital? Also just like by what's triggering the mind, and how can I alleviate some of that pressure? So just like coming back to rest and defining what rest looks like for you, and really committing and anchoring a routine in that. And speaking of routine, I think that's like also at the forefront of this energy, because we are moving into Virgo season the 23rd, I believe it's the 22nd or the 23rd. The sun is moving into Virgo, which has its light and its shadow aspect, as everything does. And I think a light aspect is that it's going to reintroduce us to our relationship with routine, whether or not you have had a routine, or like on the other side of that is if you've been so committed to routine that you haven't let yourself have any kind of fluidity. I'm here for technology failing. Honestly, I was reading something about like Instagram like shutting down, and I was like, my whole livelihood lives on Instagram, and if that happened, I would be so content. I'm like, take it away. Take it the fuck away. So I get it. But yes, coming back to routine and having a healthy, balanced relationship with routine is going to be at the forefront of this Virgo season, and particularly particularly because Uranus is going retrograde in the sign of Taurus, which rules our relationship with self-nurture and self-care, and ultimately just like how are we upkeeping our emotional, physical, mental, and spiritual temples, recognizing how I can implement and anchor self-care in a routine way. Like, is there a beat that I am following every single day that is honoring me being at my highest possible vibration? Because here is the tea. Anytime we have retrograde, me not knowing words, anytime we have Uranus going retrograde, if there's anything you can expect, it's the unexpected. It's always going to bring out change in environment, change in relationships, change in identity. And ultimately, while that's going to show up on a personal level, it's also going to show up on a collective level, which I think we've already seen within the shadow period, right? Like everything going on right now is really, really, really challenging a comfort zone we built ourselves in, right? And forcing us to see things that we are much more comfortable not looking at. I say all that to say, if everything around you is changing, what can you follow and commit to that is within your control, right? Because you cannot control what's going on around you. And ultimately, like the things that are going to be unveiled to you, the relationships that may dissipate or may be born out of this period are really fully without, like they're outside of your control. But what you can control is whatever emotion you are choosing to anchor yourself in. So the journaling prompt that I shared on the Lalia Luna page today was, what emotion can I build a home in amidst change? And this is because whether that emotion is hope or trust or power or like self internally sourced peace, knowing that like if you have that breath to come back to, and if you have that to come back to, you can have your own lifesaver amidst a time when like everything around you may look a little bit chaotic and may look a little bit different than what you have built a comfort zone in. So like letting the things around you change, but anchoring yourself in an emotion that you find safety in and a routine that you find safety in. So Virgo season is coming back to say like, do you have a routine? Are you so stuck in your routine that you're not letting yourself move with life? Or consequently, are you so unhinged that you have no like consistent or constant beat that you are coming back to and everything is sort of chaotic and not getting done? That Virgo season is really going to hold you accountable. So I think to marry this like Uranus retrograde and the sun going into Virgo energy is like, how can I make sure that with Uranus retrograding in the sign of Taurus, which is all about like just self-care on a physical level, yes, but also like on an emotional level, on a spiritual level, like am I making sure that my routine honors my sense of self-care? And with overstimulation kind of being a thing when it comes to Uranus, like am I spending too much of my routine dedicated to being stimulated online and like so digitally connected that I'm almost burnt out when I come back to real life? So really just finding the healthy boundaries within that. The energy is going to be really amplified. So if you're finding yourself more drained, if you're finding your dreams more vivid, if you're finding yourself just feeling exhausted and you're kind of over feeling exhausted because we've been feeling exhausted for a good ass minute, just know that like I want to validate that, and like it's everyone's feeling that. It's very, very, very much in alignment, especially with this Uranus retrograde. So just whatever you define rest to be, coming back to it consistently and making sure that rest has a steady, rest is playing a steady role within the routine that you curate. So harnessing a healthy relationship with routine and making sure that within your routine, play and rest are like at the forefront of it. And, know that because so much is going to be changing, I just honestly bid farewell to whatever you have built a safe comfort zone in, because I promise you it's going to look different. Like there's just no way that you're going to escape a Uranus retrograde like unscathed. My dreams are hijacked. I have absolutely no clue what they're trying to tell me. Write them down, mama. Write them down and pay attention. Pay attention to whatever like signs, symbols, animals are coming up right now, because the veil is so fucking thin. That's why I'm wearing this color, honestly. I've been working with like lapis lazuli and this color because I'm in such like loud communication with like everything, like numbers and signs and synchronicities, that I'm just trying to be aware of all of it. But like, yeah, write down your dreams, get a dream catcher. And just be in that dialogue. And also make sure that like your mental storage is vacant enough to take in more information. So if you find that you're so overstimulated, if you're going like from morning to night, like experiencing and consuming, making sure that you're alleviating some of that, because you don't even realize how much you're housing subconsciously. And like this Uranus retrograde is going to make that so loud. Like if you're consuming too much, it's going to feel like, oh shit, in like a couple of seconds. But yeah, when so much around us is changing, it can challenge our relationship with control, because so much of it is going to be outside of our control. And my friend was just talking about this, my friend Chloe, who I went live with for the Lionsgate, she was talking about how like anytime you do like a chemical peel on your skin, like it'll start to peel off by itself, and you'll be so tempted to like start doing the peeling and like rushing through it. But if you do that, it'll leave a scar, versus if you like let the layers almost fall off by themselves. And we were talking about how symbolic that is in respect to like everything that's going on in terms of like after this Lionsgate energy that we're still in until this full moon in Aquarius. And with this like Uranus in retrograde, like life is going to be peeling back the layers for you. So like let it happen. Like let change happen on its own. Let emotions move through you. Know that you don't have to sort of be at the forefront and like steer every like part of the ship always. Like things can also happen on their own, and change can envelop and develop on its own. So just like finding that emotion, finding that like routine that you can come back to, and ultimately finding a routine that upkeeps your highest possible vibration. I think that's how we're going to get through this the most seamlessly, if we make sure that our vibration is always at its highest. And that doesn't always look like living in love and light, honestly, because my vibration will be raised if I know that like what my body wants to do is like watch a horror movie tonight, and like that can be looked at as like a bad thing for your vibration. But if it means that I'm experiencing rest and experiencing art, then like it's actually raising my vibration. So that's like a separate tangent, but just know that like you know what is best for your mind, spirit, and body, and it is solely your choice whether or not you commit to that within your routine. So like making sure that like I know, for instance, for me, honey, I was really committed to a routine where like I woke up every morning, and before I touched my phone or anything, I would just like meditate and sit and like do my whole like morning ritual before I even touch technology. And lately I will wake up and get on my phone and be on Instagram for like 20 minutes, answer questions, already like check my emails before I even sit down and like have my moment. And I realize that's been knocking my vibration all the way the fuck off. So knowing what's best for you and committing to what's best for you within your routine, and like following that consistent and constant beat. And what else? Yeah, just everyone that I've been looking up to like describe this like retrograde has been shakeups, breakups, growth, and change. So just like expect the unexpected, flow with change, find comfort in change, and knowing that what you can control is routine. And with that Uranus retrograding in Taurus is self-care. Like self-care on a spiritual level, on a physical level, on a mental level, which also with Uranus retrograde means being digitally overstimulated and reeling that back in. And yeah, and also Uranus and Taurus rules like, or just Uranus entirely, and also Taurus really, our relationship with finances. So if you've been overspending, which you'll see, if you have been irresponsible with your finances, that's going to be kind of loud right now. So building a healthy relationship with that as well. But some journaling prompts that I always want to offer to work with for this energy is like the one I've already put on the page. So what emotion can I build a home in amidst change? So for me, I am building a home in the knowing that like I am in control of my own vibration, and like nothing outside of me can knock me out of that if I've chosen to commit to honoring my power and embodying my power every single day. So like I'm trying to build a home in that knowing, as everything around me sort of just does its own tornado thing. Another one is, what can I commit to in my routine that keeps me at my highest vibration? So I'm really going to commit to, at the very least, honoring my mornings. You know, the rest of the day can be whatever it is, but like if I keep my mornings completely like digitally disconnected and just like with source and myself, I'm good. And what have I learned this month, and what are the final layers that I'm choosing to shed? And that is because we have this final full moon in Aquarius happening on Sunday, which of course, like we said, it's technically known as the blue moon because it's once in a blue moon that we have two full moons in the same sign. We had it last year. I forget what sign it was in, but it wasn't in Aquarius, I don't think. But because this is such a special and rare full moon, it's kind of gonna like finish the story that we started in the beginning of Leo season, which this season was a season of empowerment. It was in a season that really put at the forefront, how have you been standing your own way? How has your internal dialogue been anchoring you in outdated ways of thinking and being and standing in your power? Just how have you been the only boundary between you and like the best possible version of yourself? So there's been a lot of shedding, a lot of like deconstruction of self, a lot of inner child healing, and ultimately just it's been a lot of like honest, vulnerable conversation with self. So like really reflecting on what you've learned about life and what you've learned about yourself this past month, and how you've been able to rejuvenate your relationship with yourself, you know, reflect on that and let this final full moon be like one last exhale of like, I am no longer feeding and nourishing that way of being. It was not what I expected at all, looking inward. I know, I thought that I was just going to be like a hot girl. And like, while I was, I also like, there was so much crying this Leo season. And it was because I was really being faced with like, yo, it's just me. Like, all of that fear is self-imposed, and like, I've been abiding by conditioning and by like the upkeep of what everyone else wants from me. And like, I'm seeing so many things that I think other people are capable of, and not myself. And so it was a really like honest and vulnerable experience. A lot of shedding, a lot of like discomfort, a lot of like leaving who I was, but like also not sure of who I was becoming. And like, I think this final full moon in Aquarius is a beautiful time to be like, okay, when I let all of that baggage go that I chose to put on myself, you know, who can I be? Who am I when I'm weightless? Who am I when I'm free and when I'm not anchored in limiting belief? Who am I when I'm simply choosing and like redefining everything? Honestly, if there's like anything that I can call, there's one word to like encompass this Leo season energy, it's like redefinition. Like, how am I choosing to redefine success and power? I've been recently redefining wasted time as well. I realize that like society's definition of wasted time is very different than my definition of wasted time. And like, yeah, it's just a whole thing. Hot girls cry too, honey. Well, then I better be the baddest bitch in town because the bitch been crying. But I'm glad because I went through a crying drought, which is very Aquarius of me. So like, I went like 4 months without crying, and I was like, I need to cry, and boy did I. So anyway, that is basically a summation of everything that we're experiencing. If you missed the first half, or if you're joining us online, definitely watch the whole thing. But otherwise, Sun is entering Virgo. Get your routine in order, baby. Uranus going retrograde until January 18th, honestly. So like, let these next few months be a period of change, and know that you can simply anchor yourself in whatever emotion you choose and whatever version of yourself that you choose. And like, that emotion should definitely have a relationship with trust, because whatever is broken away right now is meant to be broken away. And whatever truth is revealed to you is meant to be revealed to you. And let yourself be a little reflective on how far you've come and how can you put everything that you've learned into action. And this full moon in Aquarius is kind of like that last shedding. So definitely be intentional about it, especially if you have major placements in fixed signs. Because Uranus is going retrograde in Taurus, and this full moon is in Aquarius. So like, if you have Aquarius, Leo, Taurus, or Scorpio, and any of your big three, your identity is going to be at the forefront of like this conversation, which I like, my moon and sun are both fixed. So like, the fact that I'm even able to speak right now is crazy because I have just been drained. But yeah, I love you guys. I'm sending you all of my love. Of course, you know, I do one-on-ones if you ever want to, link up and do that. But otherwise, know that I'm experiencing all alongside you. And the last thing I want to say or repeat is back up your technology, okay? I don't understand iCloud. I never will. But like, whatever you got to do to make sure you got your information safe, do it. Because technology is not fucking with us right now. All big three. Honey, you're in my prayers. Yes. Okay. Love you so much. I hope I see you again. And yeah, walk with grace and compassion for real. And get rest. Okay. Bye.